Om Ajnanatimirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya
Hare Krishna, we request everyone to place on mute.
Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Mukam karoti vachalam pangum langayate girim yat kripadamaham vande Sri Guru Dinataranam Paramananda Madhavam Sri Chaitanyeshwaram Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripasindubhyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Hare Krishna. So, thank you. I'm here just for purely selfish reasons to get Yugal Kishore Prabhu's association. Usually we spend time together in Govardhan, but since this hasn't been happening for a while, so I come here to spend time with him. And I'm very happy to see all of you in this beautiful temple, these most beautiful lordships. So thank you all for being here, for being who you are and doing what you do and making this temple a great success. We were asked to speak on a couple of topics. One is how to become steady in our sadhana, in our seva, and in our reading and chanting. So we'll speak about that. Jiva Goswami says that you can measure your progress, your advancement in two ways. Now, you all want to go somewhere, right? You want to progress in life. It's like, if you don't know where you're going, any road will take you there. If you just got the spinning wheel of fortune on your Google Maps, then it's hard to define whether you're actually getting closer to the goal. So what are the actual measures of progress in bhakti? To progress in bhakti means that you get closer to the ultimate goal of achieving pure love of Godhead, Krishna consciousness, going back home, back to Godhead. And Jiva Goswami tells us that the two indicators for that are, number one, are you ready? Okay, some shifting is happening. All right. Steadiness. He says you can measure your progress by seeing how steady you are in your practice. And the second one is sweet speech, Mukhya Prasad. Now, I know most of you don't have a problem with that because you come from culture backgrounds, so your manners, your, your way of communication are quite refined. Krishna defines in Bhagavad Gita the austerity of speech, anudvega karambakyam satyam priyamitam chayat, sodhyaya abhyasanam chaiva, vanmayam tapam uchate. So the austerity of speech is to speak things that are truthful, pleasing, not disturbing or agitating to others, and in relation to Vedic scriptures. So if you do that, you already figured out sweet speech. So then comes steadiness, how to become steady. Some days we're very enthusiastic, we chant a lot, we read, we do certain yagyas, austerities. And then there are other days where it's like, you know, maybe tomorrow, not today. You ever encounter days like that where you're not really up for it? You feel like it's not really happening, so why try too hard? Tomorrow is another day. So if you want to create steadiness in anything, you want to create a habit, first of all, it helps to understand the need for it. It's easier if you have interests, concerns, but unless you actually feel a need, it's really hard to do something. Just like, hey guys, focus. You got to be focused. If you want to win in the game, you have to learn the art of being focused, okay? You play games sometimes? Never, right? You never play games. Yeah, right. Teenage boys never play games. I just had 1 week with my dear friend, Mahakirti from Florida. He came here with his 3 teenage boys. And I tell you, they play games from morning till night. The rest is all just supportive, you know, a little sleeping and a lot of eating, but it's all supportive to the game. It's like Krishna and Balaram. All they care about is games. They want to play games all day long because that's what boys do, right? Am I right or am I right? Say yes. Thank you. But if you want to play a game properly, you have to learn the art of being focused. Because if you're absent-minded, you don't really get what's going on. You don't really catch the ball. You don't really get the drift, what's happening. So you have to see a need. If you know that if you listen to this class, you will get better at playing games, will you pay attention to this class? Yes, of course. Thank you for your audience participation. It's like when you're in the airplane and you sit in exit row, they say, we need a verbal yes from you. Will you help in the case of emergency for evacuation? Yes? Not just nod, not just shake your head. You have to say yes, okay? So if you pay attention to this class, you will get better at games. And ultimately, the game of life is to achieve the perfection. Actual progress means what? What is actual progress? We just spoke about that. Anyone remembers? Steadiness. Not just steadiness. What is actual progress? To get closer to the goal. What is the goal? I mean, what are we here for? Just spending Sunday because it's not a work day and we got to kill time before time kills us? I mean, why are we here? There's lunch at home also, right? At lunch, you get what you want. Here, you get what you get. Progressing, yes, towards the ultimate goal. What is that goal? Going back home, back to Godhead, Krishna Prema, right? We've said it, we heard it a million times, but do we believe it? That's the question. So unless we feel a need, it's really hard to do something, especially something like paying attention, like stop playing games during class, like, you know, getting up early, chanting rounds. You may seem like, why would you want to do that? It's just so much work. It's so much effort. But once you know that there is a need, that I want this. Have you ever gone shopping with your spouse? It's a theoretical question, right? And then if your spouse says, I want this, will you argue? No, definitely not, right? When your spouse says, I want this, it's not a matter of price. It's not a matter of circumstance. It's just, there's only one acceptable answer. Yes, dear. Right? So, in a similar way, if you want something in life, there may be so many excuses, but there's only one plausible answer. Yes. Like in the army, they say, sir, yes, sir. It means that you're actually focused. You actually want to achieve your objective. Now, of course, you can come here and it's all great and nice, and you go home and you feel better. That's good. But if you actually want to progress, you got to follow the formula. You got to follow the process. And that's why the acharyas have given us an outline of how to lead our lives to progress, to come closer to the goal. Like if you learn the art of sweet speech, I guarantee you, your quality of life will increase tremendously, at least by 50%. If you improve your communication skills, people will pay attention because they understand you know what you're talking about. They understand you make sense. Am I audible? Can you hear me? Yes. Does it make sense so far? Yes. Okay, just checking. I don't want to blow it on my first visit here. Because but it's a little austerity because you may want to talk about this, about that, about the other thing. You know, there's politics, there's sports, there is, he said that, she said that, they said. There's a whole bunch of stuff you could talk about, right? Now, of course, guys, they don't talk, but some people want to talk. But how to talk in a way that's actually beneficial, that will actually help my progress. That is why we read Bhagavad Gita. Because if you read Bhagavad Gita, we'll learn how to actually progress in life. Now, I was also asked to talk about book distribution. Now, why do you want to distribute books? That's the question. Again, what's the need? Why would you want to do that? I got the books, right? I'm good. What's your problem? Huh? Well, my problem is that if you live in a city or in a town that's not doing that great, then you'll get affected by that situation. Did you ever go to Detroit, downtown Detroit? You ever look out the window? You do, right? You see things are not going too great, right? There's some room for improvement. There's definitely some work to be done. So then you have to have a plan. Well, what is my contribution? What can I do to be part of the solution rather than be part of the problem? Confirmed. That was planned. So we're all here. We're all feeling good because the AC is on and the sun is shining and the feast is already cooked and offered. But if I live in a society or in a world that's not doing too great, I have to ask myself, what's my contribution? What am I contributing? Am I contributing to the problem or am I contributing to the solution? Now, just by being in this great country of the United States, we're contributing to many things. Not all of them may be that great. So what can we do to not just even the odds, but to actually progress individually and collectively towards our goal? That's first of all, opening those books and reading them on a daily basis, because that's the first thing that will happen. People will ask you, well, what does it say in your book? And you say, well, I don't know. I just sell them, My guru wrote these books for me to sell and for you to read. Is it very convincing? Have you ever heard at a tech presentation, a guy who is corporate, who is like maybe finance or marketing, but he knows nothing about tech? You ever heard that? Isn't it shocking? Isn't it amazing, right? This guy doesn't know the heck what he's talking about. But he just loves the mic, so he just keeps on talking. Now, if he would say, look, from marketing point of view or this or that, but no, you have to know what you're talking about. Otherwise, you will look stupid. Because people will ask you, okay, my dear sir here, what's your favorite verse? What's your favorite verse from Bhagavad Gita? Yeah. Dehinos min. Yes. What does it mean? Very good. Now, in just 3 words, what does it mean? Just in 3 words. You got to boil it down because people can't pay attention, like you already lost them. After one sentence, they're lost. So they can remember 3 things. Soul doesn't die. Very good. You are eternal. Wow. It's pretty good. From a what, 14-year-old or 11? Okay. That's pretty good. You're eternal. That's a good start. Huh? So you have to learn how to communicate big, complicated, esoteric topics in 3 words. That's what you learn here. That's why you come here for Sunday class. That's why you read Bhagavad Gita. That's why you chant Hare Krishna. Because people have attention deficit disorder. Have you ever noticed? I know most of you already phased out. You're already gone. So you can also increase your attention through japa. Huh? What do your kids want from you? Attention, yes. Not more stuff, not gift cards. Full undivided attention. You can only give what you got. If you don't have it, you can't give it. If you're scatterbrained If you're a headless chicken, how are you going to give something to your children that you never experience yourself? That's why we chant japa. Yes, we also chant it to glorify the Lord, to further our connection with him, to develop pure love of God. But this is essential. Otherwise, you will grow up kind of disoriented and kind of disconnected with yourself, with your family, your community, and with life. And technically speaking, if you always dream about the future and lament about the past, and you're never here, you're never in the moment, technically speaking, you have never lived. You have never experienced real life. And that's kind of sad, isn't it? Sarve sukhino bhavantu. Everybody should be happy. Everybody should be joyful. But how can you be happy and joyful if you don't have peace of mind? Because you're never really here. Do you worry about your stocks? Do you worry about your job? Do you worry about your car? Do you worry about your family, your folks back home? Do you ever worry? Yes or yes? Say yes. Thank you for your honesty. Huh? But do you ever worry about your own real self-interest? Whether your life is actually going somewhere, whether I'm actually progressing? Not really, right? We'd rather worry about, what's going to happen in this game or that game or this thing or that thing, but our own real self-interest, we often forget about that. And ultimately, that's what really matters. Huh? So if you become Krishna conscious, you'll take care of all the other problems, all the little stuff. If you have $1 million, your 10 and 50 and 100 and $1,000 problems are solved, right? If I'd hand you a bag with $1 million, are your $10 problem solved? Yes. Very good. You just learned math, you see? You learn everything here, Krishna consciousness. It's very simple. Huh? So shoot for the rhino, go for the big task. That is improving myself. And it is a hard task. So people want to know, what does it say in your book? So you quoted a verse that's very nice. You learn the art how to put it in words that are simple, concise, and clear, so your audience can actually understand it. Because your audience may not be a tech audience, or they may not be a philosophical audience, or an audience with a lot of attention span. So why do we distribute books? There's a million reasons. What's your reason? Help spread Krishna consciousness. Yes, that's very nice. What's another reason? Contribute to the solution and not create more problems. Help other people go back to Godhead. Very good. We got 3 sages here, okay? Let's hear it for the 3 sages. Now, sometimes people say teenage boys are trouble, It all depends on how you engage them, You'd be surprised. You can do a lot of damage by empowering the next generation and actually just handing over things to them. Because tomorrow we're gone. We're old folks. Huh? We can talk about yesterday and day before yesterday and all that, but tomorrow, that's their game. So get ready. I know some of you are still pretty youthful. Some are kind of middle-aged. Some are getting ready for pre-retirement. So why do we distribute books? Because Prabhupada asked us to do so. Because he felt, like Jiva Goswami puts it very beautifully, he says that the cause of the universe is the Lord's compassion. That's in his purport to the prayers of the Vedas personified. Krishna has created this playground of the mature world. Do you like playgrounds? You like playgrounds? No? They're boring, right? You don't like to play. Huh? This whole world is a big playground with seemingly endless options and opportunities. And Krishna has created it. For whom? For us. He said, go, have fun. Sarve sukhino bhavantu. Go play your games. But then once you're tired, once you're kind of exhausted, you're like, can we go home now? I'm done here. I've tried it all. It's boring. Let's go home. So once you're actually made up your mind that you would like to experience some sanity, some stability, something a little more durable, then Krishna responds, he reciprocates. We just had the art fair in Ann Arbor. Did you hear about that one? Yes. Tens of thousands of people. I went booth to booth, giving books to the artists, to the vendors. I like them much better than the tourists, who just eat stuff and look at stuff. And so one lady, she saw the books and she was really emotional. She's from Lithuania. She said, when I was a young girl, I had a lot of existential crisis. I had a lot of questions about who am I, what's happening in this world, why bad things happen to good people and good things happen to bad people, and what is death? Have you ever faced these existential questions? And she said, when I read the Bhagavad Gita, I got all my questions answered. But then as a teenage girl, my family migrated to America and I had to leave everything behind. My books, my art, my friends, everything. Came here with nothing. And now after 35 years, you walk up to me and you give me the same book. She got really emotional. So people are looking. They're looking for knowledge. They're looking for bliss. They're looking for eternity, something that's permanent. Satchit Ananda, because that's our nature. That's a need. It's something that is inherent to our nature. So we want to experience that. We don't like temporary stuff. You don't want to buy stuff that breaks, right? You want stuff that they're durable. So how to distribute books? There's books about it, there's courses, there's videos, there's all that. But first you have to understand the need, the why. So as your homework for today, please write down the 108 reasons why you want to distribute Prabhupada's books or share Krishna consciousness. Okay, that may be a little much. Come up with 5, okay? Or at least 3 burning reasons why you want to do this. And I guarantee you, you will figure it out how to do it. The how is not difficult once the why is clear. Have you ever been hungry? Right? And you figured out how to get food. The how was not so difficult, but the why was the main question. Why do I want this? So I went to school in Switzerland. I'm from a industrial city near Zurich. Grew up as 3rd child of middle school teachers. My father was a school principal. And I went to boarding school in the Alps. So I spent there my 8th and 9th grade. And I encountered Bhagavad Gita up there. And I started reading it. And I decided that this is what I want to dedicate my life to. So I got all of Prabhupada's books. And it's the best investment I've ever made in my life. So again, you can only give what you got. If you don't have it, how can you give it? It doesn't work. And people will look at you as a hypocrite. So your first and foremost job is to give yourself Krishna consciousness. That's why we practice sadhana. Because people take one look at you and they will decide, do I want to become like you or do I want to stay away from you as far as possible? It's a visceral reaction. It's something very palpable. So before you head out into the world, look into the mirror and ask yourself, would I like to meet this person? If not, what can I change to improve myself so that people will just look at me and say, hey, how can I become like you? What can I do to get where you are in life? I was studying in Mayapur, I just finished my Bhaktivedanta degree, and I built a school there 23 years ago. So one day I walked out of the place where I stay. There was 3 students there from Calcutta. They were on a weekend getaway to Mayapur. So I stopped them and talked to them and asked them what they were studying. And and what they want to be in life. And they looked at me and they said, we want to become like you. But right now, one is studying philosophy, another one Ayurveda, another one, I think Sanskrit or something. But they said, we want to become like you. Now that sobers you up a little bit, right? Do they really want to become like me? I mean, what is it? What is it, you know? What is it? Huh? So the best investment you can ever make is investing in your Krishna consciousness. How to progress, how to get closer to your ultimate goal. Now, the books are available. How many of our congregation have the full set? There's still some work to do, right? I went to Pune for many, many years to visit my dear friend Radhashyam Prabhu. And they had a big project to pull off a big temple, and it took them a while, but they finally pulled it off, Krishna's mercy. But I told him that your next goal is you got to really get into Bhakti Vibhushan, and that will really solidify your community, that will really bring things into place. So here again, you got the temple. What's the next phase? Huh? If you want to build a strong community, we have to build it on something solid. And the most solid thing is these teachings. So read Prabhupada's books every day. I know you lead busy lives. There's a lot of to-dos. If you read one verse a day, the Gita will take you 2 years. The Bhagavatam will take you 46 years. Most of you can still do it. But you got to read. A day without reading is a day wasted. You can write that down. So read every day religiously. And by compound interest, you will accrue the benefits of your reading. You'll come upon verses like this one. Yatredyante katam rishtas trishnayo prashamoyata nirvairam yatra bhuteshu nodvego yatra kaschana. That is to the Prachetas, that wherever and whenever you read the Bhagavatam, you hear this katha, what happens is you become free from hankering, anxiety, and fear. That's pretty good, no? Would you agree? Hankering, anxiety, and fear. Just by reading the Bhagavatam. At least while you're reading it, you become free of it. So that shows to us that we should do this. Now you may say, I'm not reading, I'm not used to it, but that's not true. How much time do you spend on your phones? How much time do you spend on your game, whatever it is that you play your games with? How much time on social media? How much time? Countless hours, right? So make a plan. For me personally, I try to get up early. After I take my shower, I do a couple of exercises. Then I read Bhagavatam before chanting my japa. Try to read a chapter. If it's not possible, at least like half hour, 40 minutes, just to get into the mood. And then I sit down and I chant. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. And believe it or not, you'll actually remember a couple of things if you read like that. You know, if you do things not just in bits and pieces, but in stretches, it actually sinks in. You actually get an idea of what's going on. So these are just some practical tips. Same thing with japa. Yes, you can chant a little here, a little there, one round, half a round. And in this way, you somehow finish your rounds. You can chant while class goes on. You can chant 24 hours, but chanting your 16 rounds, please do it in one stretch. And for those of you who have kids, that means you get up before the kids get up and you do your japa before the kids say, Daddy, I want breakfast. And you say, it's 5:30. We don't do breakfast at 5:30. But the kid says, I want to eat. And then what's the solution? Okay, you can say, all right, first we chant one round. Let's sit down. We chant and then. But still, if you want to do decent japa, you have to do it before things get crazy. And then you can chant more throughout the day. You can do other things. But do your japa before the world gets hectic. So we got time for a few questions and reflections. Yes. Yeah, that's okay. That's okay. But the best way to chant your rounds is to just sit down early morning and just chant them. Because you get a much deeper absorption and much better experience than when you do a little here, a little there, a little there, a little there. Did you ever sit down and study something just like till you understood it? Sometimes it takes a while if it's complicated topics. Huh? Oh, you can chant 24/7. You can chant all the time. But when you do your 16 rounds, you should just sit down and chant, okay? The other type of chanting is all right, but it doesn't really count for your 16 rounds. Yes?
Earlier you said that the how is not difficult once the why is figured out.
Yes.
Can you explain a little bit further?
The why means the need. In French, it's called la raison d'être, the reason to be, the reason to exist. Why? Once you figure out why, like why do you want to go to America? How to get there, you can figure that out. Other people have done that, right? But first you have to understand why you want something. And once your why defines the motive, the purpose. Once the motive, the purpose is clear, the protocol, how to achieve it, becomes clear. It becomes revealed. And there's different techniques, there's different strategies that you can use. But you have to agree on the goal. Why defines your goal, your objective. Okay? So in all these questions, where, when, how, who, what, first of all, what is it that needs to be done and why does it need to be done? You have to get your sequencing right. Otherwise, you immediately jump into the how. Did you ever do the wrong homework? Has that ever happened to you? You didn't, you're just being a boy and a little too much going on and not very, attentive. And very enthusiastically, you did the wrong task. You barked up the wrong tree, So it's not very productive, right? That's why you chant japa, to learn how to become more attentive. First, you have to be conscious before you can be Krishna conscious. Now, this seems like basic common sense. It's not like high-level philosophy, but often we lose on the basics, and that's why we don't get anywhere. Prabhupada himself, he got up early, he chanted, he translated the books, he read his own books, he heard from his own books, because he knew that this is Krishna's words speaking, and he relished hearing the Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita, Bhagavad Gita. He even sat in class when his own disciples were giving class. Can you imagine? They're the age of his grandkids. They're just in a couple of months or a couple of years. But he sits and listens to that is guru, that is acharya, that is teacher. Because how can you assess your students if you don't actually listen and pay attention to them?
A follow-up question.
Yeah.
Book distribution.
Yes.
We meet people from different faiths, and then they start debating with us that what are we doing, how are we doing?
We don't debate. It's called book distribution. It's not called book debate or, who wins an argument or who screams louder. If somebody's in debating mode, you only have one word for them: bye. We don't debate. It's not a debate sport. You see, you have to find people who are either innocent, inquisitive, or at least somewhat open-minded. Okay? So those who want to argue and debate, Too old for that. Sorry. There's plenty of other people, you know, who want to debate, right? There's plenty of people who like that stuff. I don't. I'm not going to debate. Not with you, not with them. Because you don't get anywhere. If you throw a rock at every dog you meet, you don't travel very far. Now, we don't throw rocks at anything, but it's an analogy. You get the idea? So don't pick fights. You have to do what's required, what's relevant. That means you go out there and you just share your happiness. We're not selling books. You know, Amazon sells books. Walmart sells product. We don't sell product. We're giving people an opportunity. It's the opportunity of bhakti. And that opportunity they can only get from a bhakta. They can't get it online. Oh yeah, you can click yourself through the galaxy. I meet many people who are educated in the University of YouTube. Have you heard of the University of YouTube? You can click on any little, you know, movie that comes. But they're not really in the know. They don't really know what's going on. You can only get bhakti from a bhakta. So find a bhakta, find somebody who's a practitioner. And then that person will help you. So when you go on book distribution, work more with the inspiration. It's not about mechanics. It's not about, you know, I know we got a lot of mechanical engineers here, so everything has to make sense, right? You got to get your game plan down. But most things in life are not like that. I saw you. You come. Just 1 minute, okay? I got to finish this point, then you get your point. So when we chant Hare Krishna, we align ourselves with Krishna's internal potency. And it is that, by the power of that internal potency, Srimati Radharani, who's manifested also as Yoga Maya, that you will become empowered to relate with people in an adequate way to actually have impact on them. A couple of days ago was the anniversary of Srila Bhakti Charu Swami's disappearance day. Just to give an analogy. I joined in 84. In 85, I went door to door in an upper scale neighborhood on the outskirts of Zurich. And big houses, big fences, and big dogs, and big egos. It was very hard to distribute books. But one lady, she took 3 books and she said, my nephew had been to India. And I said, oh, really? Can you give me his number? And she gave me his number. I called him up. Next Sunday, he came with his friend. They were both rich kids. They had long hair and reddish eyes because they just smoked ganja before coming to the temple. And they said, we already know everything. Have you met people like that? I know everything. Now, that's a pretty humble statement, right? If somebody tells you, I know everything. Huh? So I was just a young bhakta, you know, I'm 16 years old. I don't argue with people. So I just said, yes, yes, and smiled. And I gave them the grand tour of the temple and gave them prasadam. And at the end, I showed them all the books. And they said, bag it, pack it, we're taking it. And I'm like, man, this works, you know? They just put $300 down and walked out. And then they showed up every few weeks on a Sunday, but they're kind of busy because they already know everything. So once you already know everything, it's like once you decided that your test is finished, then it's finished, right? Once you're done, you're done. So till one fine Sunday, Bhakti Churumraj shows up and he gives the Sunday talk. And they're like, he's our guru. You have to surrender. You got to get serious. So they got serious in their practice because Maharaj just figured them out and tuned into their frequency and just woke them up by his potency. And they started a center in their home. And from that center, from that gathering, more than 25 people got initiated. So if you want to have impact, if you want to be part of the solution, you got to learn this art of being an instrument of Krishna's mercy, of Krishna's compassion. That's what book distribution means. It's not moving product. It's giving people an opportunity. And people will respond. They will respond. They will reciprocate in many different ways. So it's a great adventure. It's a great mystery. If you want to see the magic, go out and preach. You will meet amazing people who... I met the grandson of Mr. Nair. Have you heard of Mr. Nair? Bombay, the Jew whose story? The guy who tried to cheat Prabhupada and... I met him in Patel Brothers in Dallas. Just after I distributed a lot of books and a set. So... And he said, you should give the land back, you know, it belongs to our family. And I'm like, I'm so honored. I'm so happy to meet you, you know. This is a historic moment, you know. Like sometimes people say, this is bad. You're wrong. You're evil. You know, they come with the whole thing, you know. And you're like, thank you. You made my day, you know. Like, if everybody agrees with you, what's the fun? It's boring, isn't it? I mean, you can go to places where people throw flowers and money and sweets at you, but what's the fun in that? But if you have people who come and they challenge you, they oppose you, then you feel, okay, that's good. That's good. Huh? So, I don't know if that answers your question or... So work more with inspiration. There's a lot of techniques out there. So take the course. It's online on Udemy. You type book distribution. It's a free course. It's all there.
What is your mantra when you go, like you see how you find out this person is inquisitive?
It's not about mantras. It's about making friends, you see. People are looking for friends. Do you like friends? What about the adults here? Do you like friends? Are you sure? Yes. What about the antisocial ones here? You don't have antisocial ones, right? You don't accept those. Why is social media so big? Because people want friends. They'll do any damn thing to get friends. Crazy things, huh? To get likes. If you can be a true friend to somebody, why am I here today? Because Yugal is my friend. I do what he wants, and sometimes he also does what I want. That's called friendship. Yeah, that's what friends do. They also keep each other honest, you know. They tell you what you don't want to hear, but you still listen because they're your friends, you know, like it's like family. So if you can impress upon people that, dude, I'm your friend. I'm here for you. I got nothing in this. I got a job. I got a family. My thing is good. But I'm out here to give you something. Why? Because I care about you. And they say, hey, I'm all set, dude. I'm doing great. I say, yeah, but you can always do better, right? So if you're convinced about that and you're not judgmental, you're not derogatory, you're not insecure, friendship means equality. It means you have to look eye to eye. You can't have a superiority or an inferiority complex. So you have to get rid of that conditioning of I'm something better or I'm something worse, okay? You got it? Once you drop that and you just understand, I'm Atma, I'm a spirit soul. This is Atma, I'm Atma, we're brothers. Hey, how you doing? I saw you yesterday at the program. Nice talk. It was great. I'm happy to see you. And you actually mean it. Because if you don't mean what you say, then it doesn't have much impact, you know. And these things you can use for any type of devotional service and life. But it's a learning curve. Initially, you hit some obstacles. You hit a couple of diversions, and but it's good. It's refinement. Otherwise, progress will be slow. If I'm just in comfort zone, you're okay, I'm okay, everybody's okay. It's like people go to temple and church and mosque and they say hi and bye. Okay, I'm okay, you're okay. Then Krishna smiles and says, okay, you're okay, fine, I'm also okay. So see you next Sunday, bye. Next. So yeyatamam prapadyante, Krishna reciprocates in the way that we address him. If I have a mechanical or a formal or an external type of approach, then that's also the reciprocation. But if you put yourself out there on a limb and you struggle and you risk something, Krishna reciprocates a lot. So it takes a certain level of intensity, a certain level of determination. But you can learn that. Prabhupada was very determined because he had a mission that his Gurudev gave him in 1933 when he met him for the first time. No, in 22 he met him, in 33 he got initiated. So in 22, Prabhupada was 26 years old. He was just married, just had a son. He meets his guru for the first time. And his guru tells him, you got to preach in the English language. It'll be good for you and be good for the world. It's like first meeting, boom, lifetime mission, just there, delivered. And Prabhupada got it. It entered his heart. He never left it. He says, he left to US in 65. 22, 65. How many years is that? 43 years. Prabhupada prepared himself. He had family to raise. He had books to write. He worked on himself. And then he went on the journey. So you may not be able to accomplish and to pull it off all today in an afternoon. It may take you a while. But if you have a plan and you understand the why, the need, the necessity, Krishna will give you the intelligence. Okay? Yes, you had a question. Or you forgot it. Or you got distracted by the girl with the cute dress who just walked by.
Does Lord Krishna have our fate planned out like on a spreadsheet, or do we create the fate as we go?
Krishna, he's Rasa Bihari. He only enjoys. He only plays games. That's all he does. And everything else, Swabhaviki Jnana Balakriyacha, everything else is done through his potencies, through his agents, through his energies, so to speak. So Krishna doesn't need a spreadsheet. He knows how to enjoy life. And he has delegated all the other tasks to his agents. That's how things work. It's pretty cool, isn't it? Can you imagine? You only play all day. All play, no work. You like that? Sounds great, right? No homework, no chores, no exams, just play. So if you want that, you got to go back to the spiritual world. It's all play. Krishna is the center of that play. Everybody's focused on Krishna, but it's playful. Other questions or topics? Yes.
How do you reconcile Krishna's omniscience and the field of jiva?
How do we?
I think his question was how do we reconcile Krishna's omniscience and the field of the jiva?
And the free will of the jiva. Krishna already knows what you're going to do. Like mom already knows that. Yeah, mom already knows what you're going to do, but she still wants to see you do it. Okay? Because Krishna knows it doesn't mean he makes it happen. You got to stay focused. If you start get distracted, you will lose track. Because Krishna knows something, that doesn't mean that it makes it happen. You have a choice. He knows what you're going to choose, but his knowing doesn't make you do it. You understand? Your mom knowing that you're going to steal the cookie doesn't make you steal the cookie. You understand? It's just an example. It's just an analogy. Okay? Thanks for your honesty. All right? So because somebody knows something doesn't mean that they make it happen. Krishna gives free will to the jiva, but he still knows what you're going to do because he's omniscient. He's God. Huh? But he gives you the freedom. That's why he loves us. Okay? Questions answered? Thank you. Yes?
Reading books and listening to them, that's like on the easier to do than like waking up in the morning and changing because there's multiple days where it's like something or something and then it gets that inspired one and you're like, I could do it, but I also in the moment sleeping or whatever sounds a lot better.
Yeah, so many things seem more enjoyable, but you were not born on easy street, which means like life is not just all about ease and comfort, you know. So we have to understand what is our objective, what is it that we truly want to accomplish, and then once we understand that need, then the work to get there is really not so hard or so difficult once you agree that it's something that you like doing. Like you spend time for your own personal comfort and energy and effort and resources. So in a similar way, if we understand that this is what I ultimately need and what will ultimately make me happy, then it's easy. Like if you get up early, you may lose a little sleep. Why not go to bed earlier? How about that? Start the night before. So don't stay up all night and howl at the moon, you know? Like just unwind at 8, be in bed before 9. I guarantee you, you'll be up before 4, even without an alarm clock. Boom. Hey, I'm ready. Another day. Let's do something for Krishna, right? But if you take dinner at 10:30 at night and then you call a few friends and play a few games and then at midnight you're like, yeah, maybe I should sleep a little bit, you know? And then you just get out of bed just before you need to go to work or before you need to go to school, then your whole day is messed up. Now that sounds like any normal day, right? In a normal, but it's not normal. It's not really wholesome. So you got to define what is normal. Have you ever heard that argument from a friend or a spouse? Why can't we just be normal? Huh? Let's be normal. What is normal? Jump in a car, drive down to the mall? What is normal? You tell me. Huh? So define normal. Then you work out how to get there, okay? So first, work on your goals. What are your real goals, your real objectives? Then how to get there, not such a big deal. Huh? Nobody died because they lost an hour of sleep in the morning. Otherwise, there'd be plenty of dead people. Huh? You actually realize that if you get up early, you chant your rounds, you're much more productive, you're much more clear. You can actually get things done. Okay? So work with that. Go to sleep at a certain time, okay? And then you get up at a certain time. And if you need a nap, you take that later on. But you're young, so it shouldn't be a problem. You're just full of energy. You're ready to do things. All that stuff, taking naps and whatnot, that's either for babies or old men, but not for not for youth, you know? Right? Do you take naps? Huh? You do. Sometimes. But if you got games, if you got stuff that you love doing, then why would you want to waste your time sleeping, right? Yes, sir.
I was there in
during 21 years ago,
Uh-huh.
1991. It's a wonderful place. And I still remember Mangala Aarti, Rago, and Tulsi milk in the evening.
I'm glad you had a
5 days we stayed there, and vegetarian food was not available anywhere else. And very good.
Hare
It
Krishna.
was a beautiful place by the side of a river.
Yeah.
And wonderful under the bridge.
Yeah. It's on the hill. It's like Malabar Hills in Mumbai. It's best place of the country. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
And then immediately, because in German they used to talk, but for me, they translated in English.
Thank you for sticking it out, for being here to tell us. Yeah, I'm sure I was there. Other points? Yes. Yes.
But when we do our daily activities, we tend to forget that. I mean, it's conscious. We try to get it conscious effort, but we Maya is so powerful that when we do our other duties during the day, we tend to forget it. So how do we make our free will or intelligence to be more and more, so that we are more and more conscious throughout the day, so that we make those decisions that is favorable to us.
Krishna said this, Arjuna posed the same question to Krishna. He said that my mind is obstinate and strong. It's harder to control than the wind. But Krishna said, Jai Shri Radha Gopi Janavallabh ki jai. Krishna told him in two ways, abhyasena varagena, by practice and by detachment. And detachment comes from gyan. When you have gyan, when you have knowledge, then it's easy to be detached. If you know what's right and wrong, it's easy to make the right choice. But if you don't know, then anything goes. So read the books, chant Hare Krishna, be regulated in your sadhana, and you'll figure out how to remember Krishna every moment of the day. You can have bhajan, kirtan going, you can have pictures of Krishna, and you have to remember everything I do is for Krishna. It's to please Krishna, it's to serve Krishna. And to distribute books is really not easy. But it's not the job of one or two people, not just a few brahmacharis or a couple of bachelors or a few enthusiasts. You got a few hundred families here. If everybody just distributes one book a day, which is 30 books a month, either by going out personally or by sponsoring it, you'll go to the top of the scores, just by working smarter. Okay? So there's plenty of scope, but again, you can only give what you got. First, give yourself the gift. Have a full set, read the books, taste it. Once you taste something and you relish it, it becomes very natural and very easy to share it with others. Last question. Yes. You got to speak louder, otherwise. It's good to have sweet speech, but not too sweet. Otherwise, it's hard to make out.
So we do distribution, food distribution. So I just say individual score. Individual scores.
No, I want group score. I'm not interested. This one, that one, that one. I want group score. Like at ISV, it's kind of Silicon Valley, Mountain View, only group score. You can still compete amongst yourself, different groups, different teams, different individuals. That's always there. But I'm only interested as a community, what are you doing? Because Sankirtan is Samyak Kirtan. It's a group effort. It's a collective, a collaborative effort. That's it, what's really matters. It's called a false dichotomy. Either this or that. Why not both? Okay? Why not both? So don't let your mind trick you into false dichotomies. Like people ask, quantity or quality? You know, it's a false dichotomy, right? What do you like, rasgulla or gulab jamun? Why not both? Right? So you have to think outside. You have to see the bigger picture.
Sometimes I hear why don't focus on quantity, focus on quality.
You can only do quantity if you have quality. You can't increase your scores unless you have quality. It won't work. It just doesn't work. So all the people who give these arguments have no clue about what they're talking about because they've never done it. Otherwise, they wouldn't come up with such an argument. Like you want to do quantity cooking. You have to figure out how to have a consistent quality. Otherwise, it's not going to have impact. It's not going to be satisfying. So, and that comes from a group effort. That means we require all of your help. There'll be youth teams, there'll be lady teams, there'll be, brahmacharis, there'll be professionals, there'll be sponsored books, there'll be all kinds of things. It's already been done. There's so many other places are doing it. All you do is you study, you see who's successful, and you just do what they do, and then you do it better. Okay? It's like China. They're not innovating. They go to all the trade shows on the planet. They take pictures. They build the same stuff cheaper, better, faster. That's how they do it. Emulate success. But if you want to innovate and you want to be the originator of all ideas, then you don't live long enough to make every mistake. We're only here for a few afternoons. So do what works. Focus on bhakti, make your life perfect, help other people to grow. And in the meantime, you distribute a few million books and you raise a family and you may have a company, make and spend a few million and donate a few more million. That's all fine. But progress is what brings you closer to Krishna. So you can go back home, back to God. That is progress. And if you lose track of that, everything else is not really that great. So thank you for being who you are and doing what you do. Make this place more and more vibrant so people will feel the weight of your preaching. People forget the words that you tell them. But if they have a book, they will remember. Because books are lasting. I found that book in the library in my school, up on the mountain. I don't know who put it there, but I'm sure glad somebody put it there. So the person who gets the book from you often is not the person who's going to read it. So never judge and think, oh, this person won't read it, this person not qualified, not interested, not smart enough, doesn't have the money, all those excuses. No, they're just a messenger. They're just the one who's going to carry it and give it to somebody else. Happens all the time. Happens all the time. So Krishna can give you the world in 18 days. But first we need to figure out how to manage this place. Because Krishna is very kind. He doesn't want to embarrass his devotees, right? So first we have to figure out how to do this, how to figure out our game plan here. And that means a lot of homework, a lot of tushyanti cha ramanti cha, a lot of hearing and chanting, a lot of cooperative effort. And then Krishna will bring it out. All the beautiful things will grow naturally and organically from this community. But right now, we're working on the game plan. And that's why we talk a little bit on principles and less on details and less on implementation. But I'm convinced. I mean, this greater Detroit area is massive, is huge. Whatever those guys are doing in Jersey, whatever those guys are doing in Bay Area, you can do it here. I guarantee you that. Money back guarantee from this seminar. And whatever happens, don't lose your humor or your appetite. So don't be too serious because people can relate to you, you know? Like here, it's all about people want to see, like, are you having a good time? Are you enjoying yourself? If you look too serious, too sober, too heavy, people just want to stay away from you because you look like trouble. So figure out, Prabhupada said chant and be happy. He didn't say chant and be depressed, right? Now, if depression makes you happy, okay, then do that. Whatever gets you there, okay? But people take one look at you and they'll decide, I want to be like you or I want to be on a different planet. And that's preaching. That's Bhakti Sibhushan. That's the bottom line. That's why we're so fortunate that we have such wonderful teachers and acharyas. Sanatana Goswami was so loved by all the inhabitants of Vrindavan that when he passed away on Guru Purnima, which was Friday, all the men in Braj shaved their head because they considered him family. He didn't go and argue with them. He didn't go and preach to them. He didn't go around and sell books. Hey, by the way, I wrote a new book. Do you want to buy it? Gallon of milk, you get a book. No. He said, how are the kids? Is your daughter married? How are the cows doing? How was the crops? He just talked about their stuff. Whatever was interesting to them, he talked about that. Because he knew these are Krishna's people. These are not ordinary people. And because he gained their trust and he endeared their hearts, they considered him family. The Brijbasis consider Sanatana Goswami their guru. That's why it's called Guru Purnima. That's why the biggest parikrama of the year is on that Purnima. You can't walk on the mark. There's so many people. Now, Sanatan, he was just a Baba. He was just a renunciate. He didn't have anything of material value. But because he had bhakti and because he knew how to interact, he knew how to communicate, he knew how to relate with people, he captured people's hearts. That's what Bhakti Charumaraj did. That's what all our Gurudevs are doing. So you learn out the art of bhakti and Krishna will give you whatever you need. He may not give you what you want, but he'll give you what you need. Because sometimes what we want may not be that good for us. So thank you for your kind attention and looking forward to see and hear the great happenings, the great, the next phase, the next step. Krishna has given you a lot. To whom a lot is given, a lot is expected. So now the question is, what's the next phase? If you truly want to have impact and transform this greater Detroit area, you need to figure out your game plan and build a team with strong team leaders, servant leaders, people who are ready to be team players. That's what we learn when we study Prabhupada's books. When Vishnu appeared to the Prachetas, he said, I'm very pleased by your austerities, but I'm especially pleased by your friendship and cooperation. So Krishna will manifest through this process of Sankirtan. Thank you very much. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripasnubhyevacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Hare Krishna. Yugal Kishore Prabhu ki. Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki. Nitai Gaur Pramanandi.
So in our Eco-Student Breakfast, today we have a community meeting to discuss upcoming Janmashtami. Swarupa Bhakteshwarasya Trayate Bhaktavaya. If you do Krishna service, then